What is up, YouTube? This is Hypercon, your chap with the cap, back again for another video, specifically the newest installment of Throwdown Thursday. Now, this one, again, since I didn't have a whole lot of feedback, I just had to kind of make one up, and I decided to actually go not with the deck that I, per se, enjoy, but rather an idea that a friend gave me that I thought was kind of cool, and just figured I'd test it out, see how it worked. The idea didn't really work most of the time, so maybe it's just me, maybe the idea was more just a theory, but I digress. This time we're doing a specific variant of Hieratics. Now, again, Hieratics are not my favorite archetype in the world. I don't hate them per se, but I don't know. I just feel like, and definitely experienced, a lot of bricking while testing these guys out. But these are some of the better videos that I got, so without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started, shall we? Alright, so let's see. Starting this one off, we're going to go ahead and go with this one. This was just a quick little duel against, I can't really call it a Synchron deck, because it was, well, what Synchron deck uses Max Warrior, honestly. But I digress. So as you can see, the little gimmick I was referring to was actually using Saphira, Queen of Dragons, as this is a level 6 ritual monster. Again, a light dragon, so fits in quite nicely. And since ritual monsters work by tributing, it just made good sense to match them up with a deck that does everything based on tributes. So I just decided to go for that. I guess this guy didn't realize how MST worked, which I guess kind of explains the whole running Max Warrior thing, but I digress. So I just kind of did some stuff here. I decided just to go for a Star Eater, just because Star Eater is awesome. And usually a pretty good counter for these things. But yeah, unfortunately I didn't really was able to get Saphira out that often, mostly just because I could either only get Saphira or only get her ritual card, Hymn of Light. So I couldn't really, I think in one of these duels I managed to get Saphira out. I don't know if it was this one or another one, but it was painfully difficult to try and get all of them out at the same time. So I was pretty much just going off of the Hieratic engine with Saphira as a backup plan, which is not how the deck was supposed to work. It was supposed to be primarily Saphira, but I guess I don't understand ritual engines all that well. But I digress. If anyone here can figure out how to make the Saphira engine work in Hieratics, please let me know. I would love to see it work. But anyway, getting back to the duel at hand, this guy was kind of just doing whatever he could to stay alive at this point. So now he realized he could Raigeki break me and decided to do just that. Or maybe he just drew it last turn. I don't know. I'm not really paying attention to the duel at this point. So, for safety's sake, I just MST that. Go ahead and just grab something that can punch. Eat torrentials. I'm like, damn, now I gotta wait again. So, he got Warrior Returning Alive. Little did he know I was about to do the same thing to him. He summons Max Warrior. I torrential him. I probably could have taken it, but I just felt like being spiteful since he did the same thing to me. And then I drew two. You see, this is the issue I was having, was I couldn't get the other thing. And if I could draw into it, that would have been amazing, because then I could have distributed one Saphira for the other and gotten out my monster and won. But I just had to make do with Honest instead. It's hardly a bad thing, you know. Honest does his job. Punching for game, you know. That whole thing. So that was that one. Pretty quick, nothing too impressive. Next one up was actually one of my personal favorites. So it was a duel against Batterymen, which I'm not too fond of Batterymen most of the time, just because I feel like, I don't know, they almost feel kind of like heroes nowadays, because it's just a bandwagon deck that just got hopped on. And that just kind of annoys me when some decks do that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've done that before, but I try not to be too obsessive with it. It'll just be something I mess with for a bit and not actually like, develop it. I mean, decks like this, Heroes, and Volcanics to me are all just like bandwagon decks, and that just drives me crazy that people do that. Use a deck because you like it, not because one person had good luck with it. But I digress. This guy was actually putting up a pretty decent fight, so I could hardly say much about it. Then again, as you can see, I bricked really hard, so wasn't a whole lot I could really do on that one. And if you guys heard that noise just then, I do apologize. I was just messing with something on my deck. Or desk. Too much Yu-Gi-Oh on the mind. So anyway, he tried to go off a little bit. I just said nope and torrentialed. I then, of course, draw into frickin' Darkness Metal. Yeah, I bricked real hard on this one. Unfortunately for me, so did he. He wasn't able to do too much with this either. So I finally drew in something I could summon, Tefnuit, but of course, he's also breaking, so he has no monsters, so I can't summon Tefnuit. It's like, come on, I get what I need, and I still can't do anything. This duel was ridiculous. And then I drew into Seal of Reflection. It's just their counter trap. Not a lot of people use it. I only run one of them just because, you know, there are instances where it could be helpful. And then, of course, he blows it up, but, you know, what am I going to do with it? I still have my Book of Moon. Finally, I get something I can summon. It's like, hallelujah. So I decided to do some honest beats here. Just punch, then bounce right back. Kind of also install some fear if I can never get another light monster up, because now he knows I have an honest. Or at least he should know, but I digress. We'll get that later. So he attempted to punch me with Industrial Strength. I wasn't going to have any of that. Fortunately for me, Industrial Strength has no defense whatsoever. And Honest does have some attacks, so I could deal with that. Heck, if I wanted to, I could... Oh, that's right, I forgot I did this. So I got a little selfish, realizing, oh, I could probably get out Darkness Metal, but he had that. But I still had a Tefnuit I can get out. Unfortunately, for some reason, I forgot Tefnuit cannot attack. God, I thought I handled that better. Did I really screw up that badly? Oh, no, that's right, duh. I forgot I had the Honest that time. I know he forgot, but apparently I forgot too. Wow, that was actually really bad. But I digress. This guy continues to just do battery men stuff, and he kind of goes off on me here. Fortunately, he still tributed it because of Monarch Storm 4th, so I was still able to get off his effect and just get off a little defensive barrier. And he just doesn't do anything. I don't know if he couldn't attack or anything, or what. I just decided to just go for a Tefnuit, and then Raigeki's Field. I mean, I couldn't... Oh, yeah, that's right. I had the... What? God, I'm forgetting all the things that I did. And so I decided to go for a Stardust. In my mind, I just thought, oh, darn, I screwed that up. I should have gone for a Scrap Iron. But then he Mirrored Force, and I realized I had actually accidentally done the correct thing, which was kind of funny. But, yeah. So Stardust comes back. I'm thinking I'm pretty well off. I mean, there's not a whole lot he can really do. Except I didn't realize he had these in his hand still, so Stardust was just Tribute Fodder, which was kind of annoying. So he summons this thing off, punches me for a decent amount of damage, sets this, which is actually a big player later on. And of course, look what I have now, Hymn of Light and Saphira. I have everything I need except a Tribute. This tech was driving me insane. I just... At this point, I was convinced I had lost. I would need a top deck of miracles here. Pretty much just any monster, and this is what I get. I figured I'd just try and kind of like bluff him out on this one, just see what happened. Maybe he gets scared of a face down, I don't know. And then just for shits and giggles, I just MST'd his back row. And then he Monarch Storm 4th for some reason. I don't know why he chained that. I truly don't. I guess it was a different duel I was thinking of that had the Ring of Destruction being important. I don't know. I did a lot of these, and most of them were kind of anticlimactic. That one was just kind of fun. This last one was by far the most interesting duel that I had. Wrong side. It was a sort of a banishment life point gain deck. I don't really know how to call this one. It was definitely a challenge, though. This guy put up one heck of a fight. So he just kind of got his turn 1 set up immediately, which is ridiculous. I just decided to go ahead and do some stuff here. I had to really work around it, though, because every time a monster would go to the graveyard, and since I tend to send things to the graveyard a lot in this deck, I knew that he would gain life points, so I had to find a way to work around that. Fortunately, Xyz Material does, for some reason, not count as a monster when it goes to the graveyard. It's one of those weird exceptions to the rule that Yugi seems to have like 20 of, but whatever. It worked in my favor in this particular instance, so I just got off a little bit of damage. He used Hand of Destruction, and unfortunately for me, had a Necroface in that discard. So he was able to get off quite a bit of banishing, which meant quite a bit of life point gain. It was actually a big problem for me. He then got out this thing, which would normally have been a big problem for me, but fortunately I had a Book of Moon ready, so problem averted. And I still had one extra detach on this thing, so I knew I could blow it up. I originally made the Gauntlet Launcher so I could hope I could get rid of at least half of this, but unfortunately Gauntlet Launcher only kills monsters, so... But it's okay, I managed to make the most of it. Still got rid of that pesky monster. Yeah, he got a little bit more life point gain, but whatever. I was about to go off on him. So I do all this. He still gets that. I still get my tribute special summon thing. I actually thought that was a different Wattail entirely, but going back and rewatching this, I now realized that the Necroface may actually banish the second Wattail I had. So that was just the one from the graveyard from earlier. I did not realize that. But regardless, I just kind of got myself a setup, dealt some decent damage to him. He then activated 1 day apiece, and unfortunately I kind of forgot about that within the following turn. Like, I knew it happened, I just forgot about the I can't hurt him this turn thing. So I punched this thing, he gets soul absorption, I gave him unnecessary life points, and then attacked with Wattail and realized, oh, hell, 1 day apiece. But regardless, fortunately for me, it didn't backfire too hard on me. So 1 day apiece was no longer protecting him, and I was ready to go all sorts of off on him. And so I did. Yeah, he gets the 500 here, but he's going to take a lot more than that to the face right now. So I finally got him below the 8,000 threshold, and now he's actually in the danger zone. I decided to go for Photon Strike Bouncer here just as a precaution, but unfortunately he had the warning, and that did give him a little bit of life point gain, so... However, unless he top-decked hard here, he was going to lose. But he top-decked a Necroface. I was like, oh, hell, here we go. Or at least he thought I did. I actually let him get this part off because I still have a Compulse. So I could have cared less about the Necroface. Activated that, got bounced back to his hand, and at this point he actually just surrendered the duel because he realized there was no way he could win. Just given that all that he had was the Necroface and the Chaos Sorcerer. Go away. And unfortunately, he only had 3 cards in his graveyard, none of which were monsters, so he had no way of getting that Chaos Sorcerer out. Honestly, I'm kind of confused why he had the Chaos Sorcerer in there in the first place, given how the Soul Absorption D-Fisher thing works, but I'm guessing that's more of a backup. Regardless, this was an amazing duel, and I really enjoyed it. Even if the deck didn't do what it was supposed to do, it was still a lot of fun getting to test it out. I actually enjoyed myself with the Hieratic a lot more than I thought I would, even though they still bricked really hard. But regardless, that's all that I have for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think down below. What deck do you want to see me do next time? How did this deck perform? Do you have any ideas on how to make this damned card work? Just let me know down in the comments below. Of course, don't forget to also like and subscribe. And until next time, peace.